Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
We got Justus Cleveland, WEAU 13 sports director, SportsScene 13, joining us here. It is definitely a busy time of the year as we start to wrap up the prep season, the local prep season with playoffs and such. But before we get to high school, just a quick note too, because it was announced on Thursday, but Eric Strand stepping down as head coach for the Blue Gold women's hockey team. Going to be going over to the University of Vermont to take on an assistant role. So long-time Blue Gold, not just from head coach for the women's team, assistant with the men's team and such. So, I mean, a long tradition with the Blue Gold. It's going to be different.
He said 18 years he'd been here in town. And yeah, I mean, that for him, what an opportunity to get a chance to step up to the D1 ranks as an assistant. And, you know, as well as he did here, I wouldn't be surprised sometime to see him make it as a head coach. But great opportunity for him and for what he did for that program. I mentioned it the day that he left, that 5 wins when he came in, and then they won 18 games, I think 8 times or something like that, and 20 games 5 times, conference champions. Yeah, I mean that program really turned around in Strand. Yeah, just so big in that turnaround there, and I think the players that he had play for him, you could see the notes that they were sending, and just a fun guy to talk to. If you've ever had a chance, like he just really opens up, and you know, we always let us in when they were making their run. So I'm so happy for him. It's sad to lose him because he really is a great coach, and I think really bled blue and gold for those years that he was here. And he says it's tough leaving, but you know, when you have an opportunity like that to go D1 and have a chance to continue your career after an outstanding career, he left everything here. He did everything. The cupboard's not bare or anything like that. This team's going to continue to have success no matter who else comes in here. And good luck to him over there in Vermont. Yeah, and you know, for the Blue Gold side, I would argue a very attractive job for a lot of potential coaches too. I would think so, especially in the D3 ranks. I mean, this is Hobbs rocks. When you got that place packed up, you've got
always high expectations with that. So I would imagine the candidate pool is going to be pretty stocked.
Yeah, and I think this location to the Twin Cities and knowing how a hotbed of hockey that is when you're trying to recruit, and you see a lot of those players come from that area and in the Minnesota area. I think I think it's going to be really a big job there. So we'll see who comes in, but again, thank you, Eric Strand, for what he did for that program.
Absolutely. Prep side, high school side of things, I know we've got state track and field coming up this weekend, which is always a big event at La Crosse.
Oh, it's huge.
It's always huge. I mean, you and Brandon talk about it all the time. It's always kind of a tricky weather one, it feels like at times, too.
Maybe, knock on wood, I don't want to jinx it, but it's looking like normal-ish this weekend.
Wow.
70s?
Heck yeah,
would
man.
be great.
Yeah.
If we get the 90s out of the way today,
the
thunderstorms out of the way tomorrow, and then maybe have a normal week there. So, I still a long ways away, but yeah, it is huge. I mean, I don't know if there's an event that has, per volume, I don't think you're going to have an event that has as many people.
Right.
Wrestling's probably right around there for just the amount that are in one spot. But yeah, it is great action. You get every basically town is represented there, from small to large. So I've covered it. I don't know how many years at this point, but I it is really cool, and it's really cool that it's down in La Crosse and in our neck of the woods for all those teams, and such a big moment for those athletes in their lives. You know, some of them have been there. This will be their 4th year. For some of them, it might be the only time they ever get to stay in an event, and I think that to me is just how cool of an event it is.
Yeah, you mentioned it, whether it's represented by teams or individuals over there too. So it's always cool to see all the individual performances and team performance over there too. Memorable ones too. I still remember you guys watching Kenny Bednarik over there and just dominating, to track the track.
There's been so many. Kenny stands out. I think Brooklyn Sandvig from Chi High and her exploits.
Yep.
And Rice Lake winning team championships, Fall Creek winning team championships. I mean, there's and I'm probably leaving McDonald's one. Just so many teams that have and individuals that have went there and made moments, and we'll get a ton of kids there again this week.
Yep.
So it'll be fun to see who stands out this week.
And also we've got it's an individual tennis states.
Yes, individual is this week, and then team tennis would be the next
week too.
Altoona won their first sectional ever in the 18 years of their program's existence. So
that's
congratulations to them. And Menominee goes for the second year, So yeah, I mean, and then you'll have plenty of players from a lot of the schools around here that are going to have a chance at individual. Then, like I say, team goes the next week. So that'll start up this weekend too. And then, basically, today is a crazy day because you keep finding out games that are being shifted to today because tomorrow looks like it's going to be a wash, or at least be tough to get games in. So
a lot of baseball games being moved up today.
A lot of baseball, yep, and we have sectional semifinals for softball.
Okay.
So the ones I know of right now, Hayward and Rice Lake are moved. McDonell, who upset number 1 Stratford, will travel to Colfax. That's at 5 p.m. And then Augusta, I think it was their first regional title in 32 years, something like that.
Wow.
And since they made it to state in 1990, and I think 92 they won the regional there. They'll take on Melmin.
Okay.
So that's been moved as well. I know there was, baseball-wise, I saw Osseo Fairchild had moved their game to today. Wausau and Menominee, Boyceville at Fall Creek, Tomahawk at Elk Mound, McDonell at Athens, Melmin Mondovi, Logan at Altoona, and then Cashton Blair Taylor. Just some of those that I saw. Right. Those were last night, and I think, there could have been probably more added this morning when people saw what the forecast is. So it's going to make it today was supposed to be the quiet day. There's going to be no quiet day this week. It's going to be straight everything for this whole next 6 days.
Golf-wise, too, are we, where are we at with postseason play?
We are at
golf?
Sectionals.
All right.
So tomorrow, again, we'll see. If anybody's playing through the elements, as long as there's not lightning, it's the golfers.
Yeah.
D3, that's hosted by Chautauqua Weyerhaeuser, who's a really good team. That'll be up at Turtleback in Rice Lake. And then Durand, which just dominated their regionals, somehow they got thrown in the southern sectional, so they have to go to Delavan.
Really?
Yeah, they have to travel 3.5, almost 4 hours.
Wow. To
go play their sectional. So unfortunately, we won't be making that trip to Delavan for it. But with Weisinger in that team, the defending champ there, so they got a good chance of, I think, as a team, going to state this year. So we'll see that. And then the D1 and D2 are both on Wednesday. Okay. D1 travels over to the Wausau area. Is it west? So I can't think of the Greenwood Hills or something like that.
Yeah. Yep, I know which one you're talking about. Which is not the one on 29. It's not Pine Valley.
No,
Pine Valley. So
then D2 is up in Hayward.
Okay.
As well. So Elliott Skinner.
So Big Fish up in Hayward, or
I think so. Okay. Yeah. I've been up. That's a nice course. I've been up there. So, but then we'll have Wednesday. We'll also have the D2 and through 4 regional finals for baseball. And then tomorrow. It depends on what doesn't get canceled. Yeah. Today we'll try to go tomorrow. If not, more than likely getting pushed to Wednesday, which is going to get tricky for baseball because they're supposed to be, those. That's why I think of those smaller divisions are trying to play that game today. Yeah. Because Wednesday's when they're supposed to be playing that regional final. Okay. So that's why you see some of the D1 teams have moved right now. As far as I know right now, Memorial and North. Memorial's on the road at Spash. Okay. They're still playing tomorrow. Okay. And North is hosting, and they're supposed to play tomorrow at Carson Park. But again, we'll see what
the Express play tonight too at Carson Park. So that might factor into maybe some of the scheduling.
Yeah, that's true. And I say this for anybody out there, just double check the brackets because things are going to be pretty fluid today and then fluid literally tomorrow with all the rain. But yeah, to see where your team is playing so you don't just go out there and be like, oh, nothing's going on here. So I'm giving you the full warning. Things are in flux because of the weather. So just double check before you head out there.
Absolutely. Soccer-wise, too, I know
Yes.
Menominee, was it last week they got the BRC championship for the girls team?
You mean Memorial?
Did I say Menominee?
Yes.
Okay, Memorial. Yep.
Yeah, Eau Claire Memorial, they beat River Falls, the only team that had scored on them in conference play.
Man.
They had a draw with them early in the year 2-2, and got the win. So they'll be they host North on Tuesday night.
Okay. Again,
tentatively. They're with them they at least have the ability to play under the lights. So it'll be a 7:00 start for them. So they might have a chance to wait the weather out or something like that too. So that'll be,
and the turf, I would imagine, probably factors in with the rain.
Yeah, and they've played it. I mean, I was at one of their games earlier where it was raining and cold. So which would probably be tomorrow night because I think the high is only like 69 or something like that tomorrow. So that team has been amazing. And again, it's easy to point out Nora Kling and what she's done, but the defense, if you go look down at their stats this year, that defense has just been suffocating, and especially lately. After they gave up those 2 goals to River Falls, they have just been getting better and better. Ashlyn Schroeder in goal over there. She's done a great job. And then just all the defenders it's a senior-led defensive squad that just puts the clamp on. And you have to have the good defense to give that offense the chance for the breakaway goals they get. So really, it is a great team that has a chance to end their season down in Milwaukee in the state tournament.
Awesome. And then, to kind of wrap it up here a little bit, the Express
we be bussin'. Hudson's bussin' boy.
Oh, man, you just caught me off guard. But, if you like offense with the Express, there's a little bit of a theme going on right now.
Yeah.
Especially when they play at Carson Park, it seems like the bats come alive for this Express team.
I don't know what the total is now, but I think through the first 5 games, they had 55 runs. So if teams averaging double digits per game.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yep.
And then, Bussin comes back for his first game and sets a team record for RBI. I mean,
I know.
I didn't,
right?
You're thinking he's like Dalton Varsho, what he did. And I was digging up highlights for them a couple of weeks ago and just watching all the Dalton Varsho highlights. I'm like, oh man, that's right. That guy had 15 home runs one year and just,
yeah.
But I mean, I think once the pitching stabilizes, this is going to be a really tough team, and a lot of guys that are coming back and have experience with this team. So it's a fun watch no matter what. You're going to get an adventure with them.
Right. And, I was at the game Friday night, and, I'm watching that, and I'm like, they got a lot of lefties.
Yeah.
In that lineup, too. A lot of left-handed batters were in that lineup.
Short porch.
Yeah. So
it's the Yankees idea right there.
Exactly. But, you look at what, 15 runs yesterday in a win against Badland, and you go back to Friday night against Duluth, they had 15 runs. Then you look at their opening series, they scored 11 runs in a loss on opening day, 22 runs in a win last Tuesday. These are runs they've scored at Carson Park than their road games. I should say one against La Crosse, they scored 3 in there, but then
they came back and
yep. So I mean, they lost to La Crosse on the road too, and then lost to Duluth on the road. So I mean, they
I'm pretty sure they're still averaging double digits per game.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the offense has probably been a lot of the talk, but I mean, even on Friday night, the pitch performance that they got was very solid. The kid went 6 innings, I think, in that game too. So let me see if I can bring up the box score.
It was a local kid too, and I'm trying to think of his name. So until you get that box score, I'm gonna be blanking on it.
It was Easton Bob.
Yeah, Easton Bob, Shy High.
Easton Bob.
Yes.
So yeah, he went. He's fantastic so far. He's 1-0, 7 innings pitched. So yeah, he was awesome too. So, but it's early on.
Right.
Early on, still getting guys in.
One weekend.
Yep. Still getting guys in, but a lot of fun if you like offense.
Yeah, and as for them to that first week, if they put up enough offense for a month. Via the Brewers, I think they did. Some of those months that we've seen were the Brewers, but yeah, I mean that's the thing. You're gonna get exciting baseball. I mean, even unfortunately, opening day, they were down 12-0 and almost came back. To win.
Exactly.
So, yeah, once those bats start clicking there, it's a lot of fun. So you have a chance tonight. Tomorrow
they're home tonight.
Yeah,
and then
it's lacrosse, isn't it?
Lacrosse on the road. They're going to be on the road for the next 3 days, and then they'll be back home for Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Smart move. Just avoid the weather.
Right, exactly.
Come back and
Yep. If it's bad weather, it's at lacrosse anyways. You don't lose a home game. So
it's their fault.
Or they play a doubleheader, I guess, on Wednesday.
Right, that's true.
Lacrosse too.
Copeland there, so that's a very nice park. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, and a lot of couple games. I don't know, it'll be 5 games against lacrosse or 4 games to start off.
4 games, yeah, because they played 2 the first and 2 this week. So, and I think they don't go on a really long road trip until middle of June when they go to Bismarck for 3 games, and then Mankato after that.
That's the big one.
Yep.
As somebody who drove over Memorial Weekend, the 9-hour trip to Bismarck is probably the one. And with a bus full of guys, and it's not 9 hours on a bus. I'll tell you that much. So,
and that might actually come at a good, because I'm looking at their schedule, and then June it's just a couple trips to lacrosse and Duluth. You go into July, again it's just okay. You got a weekend against Thunder Bay. It's Rochester, then Thunder Bay, then it's the All-Star break right after that, and then you come off the All-Star break and you go to Waterloo. But that's not bad for traveling, I don't
Especially
think.
in a league that has such a wide span right now. I think they do a pretty good job of keeping the travel as minimal as you can, but there's going to be those North Dakota teams.
Right.
You're going to have those long trips. Yep. Dale just has never, he's got to reach out to me, and we got to plan this together so he can I'll just throw my kids on the bus with him, and they can just take them down. I'm sure you'd love that.
Why would he love that?
Just sitting.
Come on, Dale.
I'm sure the guys would actually probably just love it, honestly. But yeah, no, one of these days I want it to work out where I'm in North Dakota when they're there, and I'll just spring out of a corner and surprise Dale.
I can already imagine the look he'd probably.
It wouldn't even be much reaction. No. It would just be like, like a deadpan, like rolling his eyes, like, what are you doing here?